Not that one, nor that one. That one. The Victorian Railway's X-Class was a significant development on the C-Class heavy goods locomotive introduced in 1929. The X-Class was easily the most potent locomotive to operate on Victorian metals until the giant H-Class, as we all know it, Heavy Harry. What I mean by that is, the X-Class was more powerful than anything the Victorian Railways had at the time. Essentially, the X-Class was to be a larger, more powerful gauge-convertible version of the C-Class. The VR had begun designing its locomotives to be gauge-convertible in the advent that they were to go over to standard gauge, as opposed to the Irish broad gauge still in use on V-Line today. The X-Class kept the same driving wheels, running gear and cylinder dimensions as the C-Class, but the similarities between the two end there. The X-Class is a 282 Mikado. This arrangement of having another bogie set under the cab allowed the X-Class to have a larger, deeper firebox, which burnt coal better and was more suited to lower quality coal. The X-Class also featured a larger boiler and a steam-driven booster. The class could achieve a tractive effort of 39,360 pounds force, making it more powerful than the C-Class. But with the booster, fitted as the rear set of wheels, it could provide an extra 9,000 pounds force, giving a total of 48,360 pounds force, making it exponentially more powerful than the C-Class. Newport Workshops fitted this booster to all X-Class locomotives, barring X36. Even without the booster, the X-Class outperformed the C-Class in nearly every department. The first X-Class was delivered in 1929 and was X27. The first batch in 1929 consisted of 11 locomotives. In 1937, another singular locomotive was built, and 7 more followed in 1938. Another 6 were completed by 1943, and the final batch of 4 was delivered in 1947. If anything, the number of individual batches of locomotives is highly indicative of the overall success of the X-Class. The X-Class was well respected by crews and was one of the Victorian Railway's most highly regarded engines. Unlike the C-Class, the X-Class was free steaming and could be pushed extremely hard. Some say that they worked better under these conditions, though they did require a good crew to get the best out of them. Over their lifetime, there were many design improvements. Initially, the class was constructed with round-top boilers with copper fireboxes, which look like this. X27 to X38 were built along these lines. However, all X-classes constructed after X38 were fitted with new boilers and Belpaire fireboxes, among other improvements. Like the C-Class, the X-Class was fitted with a new front end, including the self-cleaning firebox and large smoke deflectors. X32 was fitted with pulverised brown coal burning equipment, which was fitted as an experiment to test the viability of pulverised brown coal. The trial was very successful, netting excellent results. One of the shining achievements of the X-Class was in 1951. The crack express service, the Spirit of Progress, was caught in a tight spot and had failed near Heathcote Junction. But the Spirit of Progress managed to limp its way into a land station. X32, fitted with pulverised brown coal burning equipment, was the nearest engine available at the time and was waiting for a goods train. X32 took over from the S-Class Streamliner, and from a standing start, the Spirit of Progress was able to go from Willan to Melbourne in 43 minutes, just 3 minutes slower than the usual time. To put this action into perspective, the situation resembles an LNER O2 pulling the Flying Scotsman and keeping to time. This was an incredible feat for a mere goods engine. Although no further locomotives would have the PVC equipment installed, the X-Class remained the premier freight locomotive on the Victorian Railway network until their demise at the hands of Dieselization. In the 1950s, Victorian Railways ordered 15 more locomotives, but this was cancelled as the X-Class was considered obsolete. Victorian Railways introducing the new S-Class diesel locomotive was the final nail in the coffin. Withdrawals began in 1957, with X43 being the first, and were completed by 1960, with X36 being the last. X36 was lucky. She patiently waited her fate throughout 1960. She went into Newport to be scrapped alongside X29, and by the end of the year, X29 was nearly all gone. Sympathetic employees moved X36 to the back of the workshops. In 1961, ARHS secured its holding, and X36 was preserved at the Newport Railway Museum, where it currently sits motionless with, unfortunately, no plans to get it running in the future. The X-Class was a true workhorse of Victorian railways, and genuinely among its most successful classes, and remains one of my endearing favourite locomotives of all time. So, thank you for watching, and see you next time.
With a steam driven into your soul, or to stand with the driving wheels under your feet and shovel a mountain of